Boji.
Ce cuvăț, tăi?
Mami,
Cervei.
that's ready.
Uite, baby cervei.
The baby's ready.
De?
Da.
Zim? Leko? Може да го сложиш в земята. Hey there folks, just a quick video today. I wanted to show you one of our garden beds. Heavy clay soil, oversaturated by the 24-hour of rain which we had, and I decided to remove the straw mulch. This part here of the bed is kale overwintered, and I removed the straw mulch on this part and decided to see how the soil is under the mulch, and just did a quick step with the flat hole here. You can see how much the soil life has moved towards the surface thanks to the mulch we had over winter. This is 2 to 5 centimeters, and in every clump of the very saturated soil I'm careful to not compress it too much, but there are lots and lots of earthworms and microarthropods everywhere in the surface layer of the soil, with the occasional slugs such as this one, and the remains of the bottom layer of the mulch incorporating in the soil. Dozens and dozens of earthworms here. So I'm prepping this bed here on that side to plant out our lettuce seedlings, which I'll show you now. And here it is, the cold frame from the old bed. You can see that things have progressed, but it has been 7 weeks, almost 2 months since we started this bed, and I wanted to show you this as a demonstration that sometimes, not sometimes, but most of the times, things don't go as quickly as the package of the seed says or what the general advice in internet says. For example, for radishes, most people will tell you that they will be ready to harvest in 1 month or 4 to 5 weeks at the most, and this has been almost 8 weeks, 7 weeks and a bit, and they're still not ready to harvest. That's because in the first 4 weeks they almost didn't grow due to the cold weather. This is the arugula, which should always also be harvestable at large size in a month, but it's still baby size. And this little row here, it was planted as garden cress, but the cress didn't germinate, so I seeded arugula here as well, so we can stagger the harvest. The kale, which I seeded here, it's a 5-year-old seed, so it doesn't have the best germination, but enough plants for the garden to start. And this is the leek, which sprouted nicely from our own seeds harvested last year. You can see that some of the tips are white, like this one. This is frost damage, cold damage. The lettuce seedlings have grown nicely. We started harvesting leaves off of them last week, and they're ready to harvest a little bit again. This is the onion from our own seed from last year, which also germinated nicely and also exhibits some frost damage, but nothing dangerous. And here we see the new radishes, which will progress quicker than those ones, so those will be ready to harvest in maybe a week or 10 days and those we won't have to wait 2 months for to harvest, maybe 5 to 6 weeks at the most, because in April weather becomes usually warmer here. And those are the just sprouting lettuce seedlings which I showed you in the previous episode. You can see how dense they have grown. We pulled out some to give to some neighbors from this edge, and those are expecting to be planted out in the bed I showed you in the beginning of the episode. And this will happen in a couple of days, because we're expecting -3 to -5 degrees cold snap for just 3 days, which I'm hoping won't do too much damage on the fruit trees, but we'll see. And the onions, of course, they grow nicely, and we'll soon be harvesting them. We just pull the whole onion, and eat it as greens. And this patch here, which is still bare, after we transplant the lettuces, we'll start the pepper seed here and one of the varieties of the passata or canning tomatoes in 2 rows. And this will allow us to have several dozen, usually up to 100, and sometimes even more plants, which we usually end up giving out as gifts to the people in the village and friends. So, as general advice, there's not much a packet of seeds can tell you compared to what you can learn by observation and growing in your conditions. And I urge you to not rely too much on information from internet. Even what I'm sharing is very context specific to my own location. So my idea is to not give you the exact times and dates, but to demonstrate that you have to do your own growing, do your own observations, and always be on the lookout for things that don't fit the pattern which is shared over the internet. Adapt, modify, and be ready to change when circumstances and context change as well. So that was all for today's episode, and I'll see you in the next one.